Hi everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. It's Trisha here. Doggy daycare day today. I've got my daughter's dog and I've got my two dogs, and since I'm doggy sitting, I thought I'm going to be in the kitchen, and my daughter has requested some soda bread, so I'm going to make her soda bread, and she also wants English muffins. So I have no more of my hot roll mix left. So I'm going to make another batch of that up, and I've had a wee brainwave. I'm going to actually make my own soda bread flour. If you go to the shops to buy it, you're talking what? Up to £2 for a bag, probably this size. I haven't checked out the prices, but I know it's a lot dearer. I buy this in Lidl's and it's only, what, 74p? And to me, in my head, soda bread flour is really only flour, salt, bicarbonate of soda or baking soda, and it's just a handy mix, so people would just go in and buy it off the shelf. But I'm going to try and make my own because I use so much of this. I make so many soda farls. I reckon it should be more convenient for me. So we'll get this first one done, and I'll just show you the little dogs. And baby gets up to separate my two, just so there's no fighting goes on. And one's lying sleeping there at the gate, and my wee collie's just round the corner sleeping. So let them sleep is what I say. You've seen this mix before, but it's just going to be a wee quick one, okay? And we'll get on to doing the soda bread. So get it on to pounds, and we need £5 of flour, which would be 20 cups. Get the bag open, and this is probably the cheapest flour. I check the prices for stuff like this because I use so much of it, but not enough to buy the big bags. Okay, so let's see how much this bowl holds. I don't want to overfill this measure, or it could end up going everywhere for me. That's £1. £2. And just make sure your scales are always turned back. There's 4. And so that's our £5 of flour, and I'm just putting it in this big massive bowl here. Oops. You're not supposed to spill it, Trish. No, I'm not worried about that a little bit. I know my table's clean, but I don't want to put that in, so put a tablespoon in just for it. And we also need 1 1/4 cups of sugar, which equates to 250 grams. So we'll put this back to grams, and 250. Put it in the big bowl. And what else? We need 4 teaspoons of salt, and I'm just using regular table salt. This are only sacks of table salt. Four teaspoons. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I didn't put this in the last lot, but I went ahead and I got myself a jar of this milk powder, basically because if I come home and anybody's looking for soda bread and I don't have enough milk, I don't want to be running to the shop so they don't get it. But if this milk powder's in here, I can go ahead and just add water, so it'll always be in hand. So we need 1 cup of instant milk powder, and we'll just use this clean scoop, and we'll get a cup of this. I actually want to weigh it to see what weight we get, so I'll not have to scoop it out like this the next time, just weigh it off. And I know that looks a bit high, but I'll just get a knife. I just want to level that off a wee bit just to see what sort of weight. That's fine, I can do it in this. So that's a cup of powder. Put that on in there. And close this up. And I've actually used this, and when it's made up with water, it tastes fine. I use this just when I'm baking, and nobody's cottoned on yet, so I'll continue to use it. Just want to measure or weigh that just to see how many grams we're talking. And a cup of dry powder milk is 93 grams. So I'll just jot that down. 93 grams for milk powder equals 1 cup. And I'll actually write that in the book as well. So we don't need our scales anymore for that. And we don't need these. And I'm just going to give that a wee bit of a whisk before I put in the milk powder. And do you know what, guys? That's not going to be big enough, that bowl. So I actually have a bigger one of these. So I'm going to transfer that. I forgot that I made half the recipe the last time, so this bowl was actually okay to mix in. But you want to give us a good mixing, so I'll just go ahead and transfer that. That's no biggie. And my powder can go in as well. I don't know if any of you have been using any recipes for that hot roll mix, but it's proven very convenient here. The amount of bagels and muffins that's requested and it's working out great. I don't know how many times I've made this up, but you just want to give it a good mix in there just to make sure everything. And if you're keeping this in like what I do in a big bucket, make sure you give it a good mixing before you use it, so that there's even distribution of all the ingredients and you're not just lifting out of cups of flour. I think that's probably mixed enough. And just get rid of that. And hopefully this will fit back into this bucket. So you've seen before the hot roll bucket. And I'm going to just actually scoop that in with this big cup. I don't want it to go everywhere. And it's absolutely brilliant to have these on hand. With me working full time, I don't really get a lot of time to do it in the kitchen, apart from trying to get meals prepared for dinner and stuff, so anything that helps is always a bonus and well received for myself. And that's that one done. And I don't need to clean that out, so I'll use that for the next one. And just grab my lid. What have I done on my lid? Excuse me. I actually have to update the recipes on here. Always put your labels on your container, not on the lids. Take the lid off and it could be put onto something different. I use a lot of these for storage and don't want to get them confused. Right, that's that one done. Excuse me. Okay, so let's figure out this soda bread one. Okay, so soda bread one. My recipe for each set of 4 farls is 250 grams of flour. So 250. I'm going to put 500 grams. I don't want to overfill that wee scale or I'll end up spilling it everywhere. Okay, so that's for 2 rings of farl going into the bowl. And another 500. I just have to keep track of how many I've added. That's another 2. I'll actually just jot it down because my head's like a sieve. And I don't mind going through packets and packets of flour if whatever I'm actually making turns out good. And thankfully everyone's eating, so. So that's another 500. And just keep jotting this down, as I say, because I don't want to lose track. And I think I need a bigger set of scales, but these work okay for now. So that's another 500 going in. 5, 10, 15. That's 2, 4. That's 6 times the recipe of. I'm going to 8 times it. As I say, it's one I want to keep handy, so. Another 500. So that's a combined total of 2 kilos of flour, and that's 2, 4, 6, 8 recipes. So I would use half a teaspoon of salt for 1 recipe. So 8, I need 4 teaspoons of salt. Rid of this flour. And I'm just going to use the ordinary Saxa. I was using pink Himalayan for a while, but I found it very, it's too strong, too strong a taste. And I think it'll be better just, I'm losing track. So half a teaspoon for 1 recipe, and we've got 8 recipes. So that's 4 teaspoons of sugar, or sorry, salt. One, two, three, 4. And I use 1 teaspoon of sugar for each recipe, so that's 8 teaspoons of sugar. I'm going to just put the lid on this before I spill it. You want 8 teaspoons of sugar, which is 2 tablespoons and 2 teaspoons. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1 teaspoon of bicarb for each recipe. So I need 8 teaspoons. Where's my bicarb? And I want heaped teaspoons of just baking soda. I'm going to use 8. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And basically that's all that I need to put in here. And I use like a 1/4 pint of buttermilk when I'm making this up. So what I need to do with this is give it a good whisk in. And it'll be the same principle as the other mix. Whenever I go to use it, just make sure it's all whisked up again in the bucket before I actually take out what I need. Okay, so I'm going to weigh this into, get rid of all this stuff I don't need. Excuse me for sniffing. And this will fit back into this bowl. So I want to weigh it all back into this bowl to see what we have, and I'm going to leave it on grams. Fancy 800. Another 800. I'm just scribbling this down so I don't forget. And make sure scales is back at 0 again. And the reason I'm weighing this back into the bowl is because I've added salt, sugar and bicarb. It's going to give extra weight. So I need to divide the weighed weight of all this and divide it by 8, because we're making 8 recipes. And that's 547. And that's 547. Right, so and don't need that. Making a right mess. That's a bit of flour I dropped earlier. Okay, so 8, 16, 800, 800, and 5, 4, 7, 7, 4, 8, 16, 21, 2147 divided by 8 equals, and I'm just going to get this into this bucket, and I've reassigned one of my other buckets, so we'll just get this scooped in here, and then I can write the details on the label. And I like recycling, like these big plastic containers, which are only going to the bin anyway, so they work out fine for me. And the lids seal really tight, so everything's going to stay fresh. The flour's not going to get stale. It wouldn't stay long in that bucket too long to get stale anyway. Mind the flour and stuff I go through. Okay, so that's our soda bread mix. And I just pop the lid on. And I'm just going to grab a pen. And I went ahead and put a sticky label on here. It was a bit unsightly looking around here, so I just covered it with white paper. And I'm going to make sure my lid's tight. And we'll just write on this. 2147 divided by 8 equals 268, 268, 268 grams is what I need whenever I go to make up my one recipe. So 268. So I'm just going to put on this soda bread mix. Use 268 grams per one batch, and I know exactly what that means. So I come in on a busy day and they're looking soda bread here, or I'm looking soda bread, which I absolutely love. Just open this up, give it a quick mix with a whisk, weigh out 268 grams and mix it with just over 1/4 of a pint or a bit more of buttermilk, and throw it on the griddle or in the frying pan, and we have soda bread. And this is going to work out a hell of a lot cheaper than buying soda bread off already prepared soda bread. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with it, it's just this is going to be a cheaper option for me. And if it's going to save money on food, you can be spending money on something else, can you? So, alright, I'm going to give this a go and see how this works for me. Shouldn't be any problems with it, and I'm looking forward to seeing how convenient this is going to be for me, and hopefully it'll work out fine. Okay guys, so that was just a wee quick making up of the other hot roll mix and the soda bread, and I need to get my sleeves pulled up and get my daughter some soda bread made, and I've no excuse now because I've got my hot roll mix made again. Slurp of tea. And I'll let you know if this comes in handy to me, which I've no doubt it will. Alright, I'll see you in my next video guys. Have a good day. Bye.